Welcome to Principal Chan Free Tutorial World. Today we're going to talk about how to introduce examples in Writing 2. Today, students will be able to use various ways correctly to give examples in a paragraph. 上一課提過 for example 嘅句型，今日會繼續講返 for example 一啲嘅常見錯誤。Introducing examples. We face a lot of problems such as including, for example, say, e.g., the housing problem and different types of pollution. Let's take a look how we can make this better. The housing problem and different types of pollutions are examples of the problem we face. We face a lot of problems. For instance, or for example, many Hong Kong families cannot afford to buy a flat in a private housing estate and the city is seriously polluted. We face a lot of problems, e.g., the housing problem, different types of pollution, and so on, etc. Using such as and like. Vegetables such as spinach contains calcium. Note that such as spinach is an identifying phrase. No commas are used. Now we can elaborate that in a little bit more examples. For example, below, cal, like spinach, contains a lot of calcium. Like is often followed by one example and means similar to. Note that like spinach is not an identifying phrase, it adds extra information. Therefore, commas are used. Using for instance, for example. For instance is slightly less formal than for example. You use for instance to introduce a particular event, situation, or person that is an example of what you are talking about. And for example is the common way to give an example to emphasize something that explain or support what you are saying. You use for example to introduce and emphasize something which shows that something is true. There isn't really a difference between the two though. These two accept this minor difference. Most of the time they mean the same meaning. Just like the example below. There are many things a student can do to learn English. For example, students can attend churches where English is spoken. They can make many friends and attend numerous Western social gatherings for free. Through these interactions, students are guaranteed opportunities to learn and practice English. Let's do some exercise together. Task 1. Proofread the following sentences for the errors. Question number 1. Some vegetables contain calcium, for example, broccoli. Let's pause for a moment so that you can work on this. Answers is next page. The answer is some vegetables, for example, broccoli, contains calcium. You can move the phrase directly after the word for which it gives the examples. Question number 2. Such as bell peppers contain a lot of vitamin C. Now let's pause for a moment so you can work on this. Answers next page. The answer is some vegetables, such as bell peppers, contain a lot of vitamin C. Or some vegetables contain a lot of vitamin C, such as bell peppers. Question number 3. Before scheduling our services, you will need to give us a valid credit card number, e.g., Visa, MasterCard, American Express, etc. Let's pause for a bit so that you can work on this and the answers on the next page. You can say, before scheduling our services, you will need to give us a valid credit card number, e.g., Visa, MasterCard, American Express. In this case, since you already use e.g., you do not need to have etc. at the end of the sentence. Simply just say e.g., Visa, MasterCard, and American Express will do. Further note, A such as clause is placed directly after the clause it modifies. Do not use etc. in an example list. A few examples are sufficient and it's not necessary to indicate that there are other possible items. Question number 4. Peter hates fruit. For example, oranges and apples. Now pause for a moment so that you can work on this, and the answer is on the next page. The correct way should be Peter hates fruits, such as oranges and apples. Number 5. Lennon joined different clubs in school, e.g. English club and sports club. Now let's pause for a moment so you can work on this, and the answer is on the next page. The correct way should be Lennon joined different clubs in school, such as English club and sports club. Question number 6. They like ball games, for example, basketball and volleyball. Now let's pause for a moment so that we can work on this. The answer is on the next page. The correct way writing this should be they like ball games such as basketball and volleyball. When you are, for example, taking a look at this, for example, it's being cut off from the original sentence. Hence, using such as is more appropriate so that it can link the two sentences together with a comma. Question number 7. The newly married couple bought a lot for their house. Say, furniture, a dining table, and a sofa. Let's work on this for a moment. The answer is on the next page. A better way of saying this would be the newly married couple bought a lot for their house, like furniture, a dining table, and a sofa. Question number 8. The parents have already planned some activities for their kids. For instance, a visit to the ocean park and a tour to Japan. Now let's take a moment to complete this, and the answer is on the next page. A better way of saying this is, the parents have already planned some activities for their kids, like a visit to the ocean park and a tour to Japan. Question number 9. I like eating fast food such as hamburger and so on. Let's pause for a moment so you can work on this. The answers are on the next page. A more simpler way of saying this is just, I like eating fast food such as hamburger. Question number 10. Such as apples, oranges, and bananas. Let's pause a moment so that you can do this. Answers on the next page. A better way of saying this completely in a complete sentence is, I like fruits such as apples, oranges, and bananas. By simply using such as, it's more like an example list. So right now, in the original question, it is not a complete sentence. So therefore, you have to add a main clause in order to make the sentence complete, which is, I like fruits. Exercise 2. Fill in such as, for example, for instance, in the sentences below. Number 1. Prices have risen sharply. The price of gasoline has risen by over 50%. Let's pause for a moment so that you can work on this, and the answers is in the next slide. The answer is, prices have risen sharply. The price of gasoline, for example, has risen by over 50%. Question number 2. It is possible to combine English literature with other subjects, history. Let's work on this for a moment, and the next page is the answer. The answer is, it is possible to combine English literature with other subjects, for example, history. Question number 3. A few simple precautions can be taken ensuring that desks are the right height. Let's pause the video for several minutes so that you can work on this. The answer is in the next page. A few simple precautions can be taken, for example, ensuring that desks are the right height. Question number 4. Nepal has many attractions for visitors. You can go trekking in the Himalayas or see tigers in the Sichuan National Park. Let's take several moments to work on this. The answer is in the next page. The correct way of saying this should be Nepal has many attractions for visitors. For example, you can go trekking in the Himalayas or see tigers in the Sichuan National Park. Question number 5. Many great men have risen from poverty. Lincoln. Let's pause the video for a few moments so that you can work on this. The answer is on the next page. A better way of saying this should be many great men have risen from poverty. Lincoln, for example. Question number 6. There are a number of improvements. Both mouse buttons can now be used. Let's take a few moments and pause this video so that you can do this exercise. The answer is on the next page. A better way of saying this should be, there are a number of improvements. For instance, both mouse buttons can now be used. Question number 7. Some people are really good at languages. Take Cindy, for instance. Now let's take several minutes to work on this. Let's pause the video. The answer is on the next page. A better way of saying this would be, some people are really good at languages. Take Cindy, for example. Question 8. What would you do if you found a member of staff stealing? Let's take a moment to do this. Let's pause the video. The answer is on the next page. A better way of saying this would be, what would you do, for instance, if you found a member of staff stealing? Question 9. There were many unanswered questions. Where was the money going to come from? Let's pause for a moment so that you can work on this. The answer is on the next page. A better way of saying this would be, there were many unanswered questions. For instance, where was the money going to come from? Question number 10. Several of his friends came. Ben, Carol, Mike. Let's pause for several minutes so that you can work on this. The answer is on the next page. Several of his friends came. Ben, Carol, and Mike. For instance, let's work on this final exercise. Add such as or for example in the following paragraph. Fruit, red grapes, blueberries, and cranberries are high in antioxidants. Humans need to consume fruits and vegetables that are high in vitamin C. In oranges, tomatoes, and bell peppers. Drinks made from red grapes, wine, champagne, and grape juice may also offer health benefits. Drinks made from red grapes, wine, champagne, and grape juice may also offer health benefits. Cranberry juice, grape juice also has a lot of health benefits. Let's take several minutes to work on this, and we'll give you a sample answer on the next page. Let's pause the video. A suggested answer would be as such. Fruit, such as red grapes, blueberries, and cranberries are high in antioxidants. Humans need to consume fruits and vegetables that are high in vitamin C. For example, in oranges, tomatoes, and bell peppers. Drinks made from red grapes, for example, wine, champagne, and grape juice, may also offer health benefits. Drinks made from red grapes, such as wine, champagne, and grape juice, may also offer health benefits. Cranberry juice, like grape juice, also has a lot of health benefits. And that's it for today at how to introduce examples in writing 2. Thank you for joining us as Principal Chan Free Tutorial World. Thank you for joining us today. Hope to see you next time. Happy learning!